Hello everyone, this is Ashley Tucker. Thank you for joining me today. I started today's card by taping a piece of Canson watercolor paper down to a board. This seems to be the way that I'm starting a lot of my cards lately. I used a pencil and a ruler to draw a very simple pattern on this paper. Basically, I'm just using my ruler as a guide and drawing a straight line down both sides, and then I move it just slightly so that there's a little bit of space in between, and I go all the way across doing that. And then I adjusted the angle a little bit and repeated the process. Next, I pulled out my Gonzai Tombi watercolors, and I'm just going to be coloring in the diamonds that were created in that pattern. This first color that I'm using is Rose Madder, or it could be called dark pink, depending on which set of Gonzai Tombi watercolors you have. I believe it's a little bit easier to go by the color number instead of the color name because, like I've mentioned in the past video, the color name isn't always the same. Even though they're the same color, for some reason, the Gonzai Tombi watercolor set has two different sets of names out there for the same exact colors, but it seems like the color numbers are always the same. So the first color that I used is number 34. And the second color that I'm adding in is number 37. And I pretty much stuck with these two colors for all of the diamonds. I think I added in number 36 just a tiny bit, but that's pretty much just a darker version of the first color. I was really trying to go for kind of a gradient look with these diamonds. And what I mean by that is I wanted these first few diamonds to be darker, and then as they go along the page, I want them to slowly get lighter. So at first I used a very small amount of water so that my color was very pigmented and very dark. And then as I went along, I slowly started adding more water to it so that the colors would get lighter. So the card that I'm going to be making is using the July 2018 Simon Says stamp kit, which I know I've used a lot lately, and I'm sorry if you're getting sick of it, but I just have a lot of ideas with this kit, and I've also really enjoyed kind of challenging myself. Like in today's card, I'm going to be using the stickers, and if I'm totally honest with you guys, I hate stickers. I do not like using them in my cards, but I got the stickers. They're cute stickers. I'm not a sticker person, but I wanted to challenge myself to try and use them. So that's what this card was all about. I was just really trying to step out of my comfort zone and use some stickers. And I actually really surprised myself. I was actually really happy with the way that this card turned out. Speaking of the July card kit, did anybody see the email from Simon Says Stamp yesterday with the card inspiration? I was freaking out because it was the very first time that they included one of my cards in their email, which was really exciting to see. Anyways, once I had all of the painting done and this was really dry, I went over it with an eraser to erase all of those pencil marks. All of the pencil marks that are actually underneath the paint cannot be erased, but that's okay because I drew them light enough that you can't even really see them. I pulled out the stickers that I'm going to be using. These are the stickers that came in the card kit, and I'm just choosing some of the cactus from it. Cactus? Cacti? I think it's cacti. I chose some of the cacti from it. These stickers are actually transparent, so whatever you put them on, you'll be able to see through them and see whatever's underneath, and I don't really want to see through them. So how I fixed that is I put them on a piece of white cardstock, and then I fussy cut them out. This will also be helpful because I know that I want to pop one of these up with some foam tape. Next, I took out my Deco Foil adhesive pen, and I'm just going to freehand draw some lines along the white part on this pattern. The stickers that I'm going to be using on this card have a lot of little gold details, so I thought it would be nice to add some gold to this background. It's a little hard to see where you draw with this, especially on white, but if you look at it at kind of an angle, you can see the shine of where the adhesive is. Once I had all the lines drawn, I let that adhesive dry between 30 seconds to a minute, and then I took this piece of gold foil and I'm going to use my bone folder to really push down on the foil so that it sticks to that adhesive. Now the first time I pulled up this piece of foil, not very much of the foil actually stuck to the adhesive, but that's okay because I can keep going over it and keep working at it until I get a good amount of foil sticking. Next, I'm going to work on the sentiment for the card. And for the sentiment, I'm going to be using the stamp set from the card kit, and I'm using the sentiment that says, "Stuck on You." I used my Misty tool to stamp this sentiment in Versamark ink, and then I'm going to heat emboss it using some gold embossing powder. I used some scissors and very carefully cut around this sentiment to fussy cut it out. I used one of my Hero Arts nesting circle dies, and I cut out a white circle using my Big Shot, and then I took that adhesive pen and went all the way around the edge with some dashed lines, and I'm going to add some gold foil to that. And again, I just used my bone folder to really press that foil into the adhesive. Now that I have all of the pieces of my card ready, I'm going to start arranging these cacti on that little circle. I used some Tombow glue to adhere the first two, and then I took the big one and I'm going to pop it up with foam tape. It does take a little bit of time to put all that foam tape on those really skinny arms of the cactus, but it's worth it in the end. After I finished gluing that one, I took the smallest little cactus and I glued it on the side, filling up that empty space, and I just used my Tombow glue for that. I used Tombow glue along the top of my sentiment and adhered it to the bottom of that arrangement. Because that sentiment hangs off the edge, I used foam tape on the bottom of it. I then took that whole piece and I added foam tape all along the back of it to pop it up on my background. You might have noticed that I already have my background adhered to a card base, but I'm going to be changing that. But before I get to that, I added some sequins across going from the bottom left all the way up to the top right. A lot of the sequins that I used came from the card kit, but I also added some clear sequins and some white sequins. At this point, I realized that I didn't want this panel glued directly to my card base. I wanted a little bit of a border around it. So in order to fix that, I cut it out with my scissors. I then took this piece of light gray cardstock and I glued that to a card base. Next, I'm going to take that other panel and I'm going to pop it up using foam tape. I don't know if you can see it very well in the video, but I did use a white gel pen to go around that watercolor piece with some dashed lines, and it didn't make it into the video because I forgot to press the record button. And here's a closer look at the finished card. Thank you for watching today. I hope you really enjoyed this card using the Simon Says Stamp July 2018 card kit. All of the supplies that I used for this card can be found in the description down below. If you enjoyed watching, please be sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can see all of my future videos. I'm going to be back with a new video on Monday. Again, thank you for watching. I really appreciate all of you, and I hope you have a great weekend.